let's just ignore the fact that my hair is pink. Just a amalgamation of cluster bleh. Let's just pretend that it's green or teal or red or yellow or something else. Just no pink. Okay, we're over it. Okay. I am trying to do more cosplay stuff, big projects like that. And in this one, we're doing a kind of Sandersides one. Actually, it's a fan-made Sandersides cosplay. I follow this account on Tumblr called Fangirl to the Fullest, and if you don't follow them, what are you doing with your life? They have they're amazing at art, for one. They have fusions of the Sandersides characters. So they have one for creativity and morality. They have they have fused all the different sides in different sorts of ways, and it's amazing. And so I am going to do a cosplay of one of my favorite sides fusion that they've done. Mostly because the look of the character is very aesthetically pleasing to me. The character I'm going to be making today is a fusion of Virgil and Deceit, or Anxiety and Deceit, named Vircei. I know I said this in the actual tutorial, but I'm going to say it right now. I did a few alterations to the cosplay just so it's easier to wear on an everyday basis, and obviously most people are not going to wear this on an everyday basis, but I would. If you are from my old channel, I did kind of a verbal explanation of how I made Virgil's jacket. I already made the jacket, so I kind of just talked you through how I made it, but if you want a better understanding of how I made that jacket, this is a nice actual visual tutorial on how I made his, so you can take pieces from this tutorial and add it to a legit Virgil jacket and not this fusion jacket. So if you want to learn how I turn myself into Vircei, then stay tuned. Alright, so we're going to start out by dyeing your fabric. Now, I just got black and white plaid fabric. This is not the same fabric I got for my Virgil jacket, which I'll show you the pattern on the screen right here. It's not exact, it's close. The first time with the Joann's, I couldn't find it. Second time I went for a different project, lo and behold, I found it, but I wasn't going to get that one because, well, I already got this one. I don't know if you can return cut fabric, but I'm also really too lazy to do that. So we're just going to work with this. But I know there are two slightly different shades of purple on their jacket. Just a minute difference. However, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to stick with one shade of purple just to make things a little easier for me. And I just got the normal all-purpose RIT liquid clothing dye. So what you want to do is you basically just want to follow directions on the back of the bottle to get your purple plaid. Now, I have not found a good just plain purple plaid, so you kind of have to make your own for now. So I'm just going to try my best to dye all of it. There is a lot of fabric and hopefully nothing will turn out patchy. Also, this pot is a craft pot. I got it from Goodwill, so it's kind of already used. And this is solely for crafts. Do not use this to make food afterwards. I don't care how well you clean it. And also these tongs are just for crafts as well. As you can tell, last time I dyed it, I was dyeing black. Because there's so much fabric, I'm just going to go a little bit at a time and just submerge every nook and cranny. What I'm probably going to do, because I have work later, is I'm just going to let this sit overnight, and tomorrow I will rinse all the dye out. So here is the fabric all dyed and washed. I tried to rinse out as much of the dye as possible in my sink, and then I put it on speed wash in my washer. Didn't put any cleaning detergent or anything in there, just cold water, and this is the color that it turned out. I don't remember last time using the violet that it turned out this warm toned of a violet. I remember it being more cool toned because in the reference picture it is a little more cool toned. However, I can work with this. But I think I'm going to put this to the side for the moment, and I'm going to work on the eyeball and mouth that's on the back of the head. Now, this sweatshirt I got from Walmart because cheap, and I got a large in men's. Now, if I wanted something that was more form-fitting, I would probably go for a medium, which is still a little bit baggy. Small is like snug, but I like my stuff a little bit more on the baggier side. I don't know if I said this already or I'm gonna say this for the intro, but for this jacket, I want it to be accurate, but at the same time, a little more wearable. In the drawing, it is very baggy and there's a lot of stuff going on. Very long, very baggy, already said that. And I want to be able to make this a little bit more wearable. So if I want to wear this out on a nice summer afternoon, I can. But their jacket is more on the dark gray side with the 2 tones of purple plaid and black fabric sewed on. I'm going to make it a little more opposite because the gray jackets that I found were not gray enough. They weren't a dark enough gray, and I really did not want to dye it. I'm kind of getting sick of dyeing fabrics right now because I have to do it so often. And I'm going to add the eyeball on here, but there's also a chance I might try to extend the hood because with a lot of hoodies I find they are just so small and not very practical, and this hood needs to be quite large. But I'm going to attach the eyeball first. This mannequin head is smaller than my head, but it's something that can work. So I'm going to cut a line on the back of the hoodie, and I'm going to kind of make a eyelid and roll the fabric back so there's not any frayed edges. I know it's hard to see right now, but hopefully my flashlight will help this. Yeah, kind of bent over so it looks more like an eyelid shape. And I'm going to turn on my hot glue gun and possibly hot glue that in place. So this is what we have so far. Now I'm going to start on making the eyeball out of this white fabric I got on sale. I'm going to double it up because the stuffing I'm using is just leftover yarn and other fabrics, so if I don't layer it up it might show through the white and I really don't want that. So alright, it's a little wrinkly, but I think I can work with it. So I think I'm going to try to, almost like when I attempted to make my puffy sleeves for my Pink Diamond cosplay video, which I will put a link to that video right over here or over here, I never know where it is. So I think I'm gonna like be at the very edge folded over so it will make it more domed, and I'm gonna leave this square, rectangle, whatever, quite large, and so it will look bunched together around the edges, but when I put it up against or behind the open slit inside of the hood, you won't see the folds and it'll look more domed and it won't be as crinkly. I'm going to do that off camera because there are plenty of videos how to make those poof sleeves, and that's going to be somewhat what I'm going to try to do. So I'll be right back. I think I'm not going to stuff the inside now. I think I'm just going to cut around the places where I sewed and then get started painting the iris. So now I'm going to be working on the mouth. So I'm going to start with the teeth on the back of the head. I've already made quite a few teeth so far, and this is how I did it. I'm just going to show you one time, just so you don't have to see me repeat the same steps over and over and over again. So here I have this white fabric that is folded over 4 times, so it's not going to be super sheer. What I have been doing, since I'm actually trying to run out of this eyeliner because I kind of prefer my normal liquid liner more so, I've been drawing pretty decent sized teeth because once that I flip them inside out, they're not going to be as pointed, and they're going to shrink a little bit. So I just draw a decent size right there. Basic straight stitch right around where I drew. The rest that are already on here have already been sewed. So now I'm just going to cut out roughly one of these shapes, not cutting through the thread. And then I'm going to cut as close to the thread as possible. Then I have this small screwdriver that I keep around me at all times. And I'm going right in the center and flipping this inside out, and the screwdriver helps, you know, push the tip out. And there we pretty much have it. That is how you make the teeth. Alright, now since we have teeth done, I'm going to now cut out the mouth. And the mouth seems to extend the ends of it to the very edges of the eye. I'm trying to be careful because I want to fold over the lips like we did with the eye over here, so we don't have that harsh edge. Yeah, the bottom part is going to be folded over more, or you know what, I'm just going to cut more of it off and then we can fold it over. Yeah, so we're just going to fold it over eventually like that, but actually what I'm going to do is take some of this excess black fabric I have in this bag. I'm going to sew that so it'll sort of be the back of the mouth, and you know, fold the edges over to give that lip look, to give it more 3D, make it look like the mouth is a little more, you know, looks a little more three-dimensional than just, you know, gluing the teeth on here. It will also give a nice lip to hide the edges of the teeth, so we can just, you know, fold this over. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. Fold this over, have the black background, and then these teeth will be glued right there. Okay, as you can tell, I did something a little bit different. At first, I was going to do the tongue like I did the teeth, obviously, but a different shape. But when I flipped it inside out, the split tongue was just giving me trouble, so I flipped it back outside, or honestly, I could have just cut it, because I did cut it smaller, because instead, as you can see, because the thread is pink, I just sewed along the corners of the outside. I'm not too worried right now, or anymore, that you can see the thread. I'm going to now paint the tongue pink. After it is dried, I'm going to, here's the metal cord. Wire, it was the word I was looking for. And I'm just going to slip that in between here. And so I'm also probably going to hot glue the ends, just so the metal wire will stay on the sides, not just go to the middle. And so when we put the tongue like right behind the bottom set of teeth, we can easily just bend it, and it could be not just, you know, flop around on the back of my head. So far, this is what the face looks like. It is looking pretty flippin' awesome. Now we're gonna work on the rest of the jacket. I'm first going to take off the cuffs. Oops. The cuffs are, you know, bunches up right at the edge. We don't want that because Vircei's jacket is not like that. So I'm going to use small scissors to cut the thread on the inner portion. And there we go. We are going to just cut a random shape. So one thing I'm going to do to this jacket that I did not do when I did the Virgil jacket is when I sew on the purple plaid, I'm actually going to fold the edges over a little bit and sew it with some black thread, because this fabric will fray on you. I mean, I guess for this character, if you wanted, it might look cool when the plaid sheds, but in my opinion, after making Virgil's jacket, it's now kind of annoying me. And I'm just going to messily sew like on the outside, because you're not really going to see the black thread. This is just to keep the other fabric in place. So next we're gonna sew on some of the yellow thread. This is embroidery thread, and embroidery thread is usually looks like this, and I'm gonna do the same thing kind of, but I'm gonna purposely make it a lot more visible. Now I'm going to finish up this piece, and I'm just going to, you know, look at the reference picture and place other plaid fabrics, you know, where I feel like they would look best. So as you can see, I decided to find some gray fabric to actually sew on here, just to be a little more accurate. I just decided to get rid of an old t-shirt that I'm like, you know what, I don't really care that much. So it did not really cost me any money at all, and I'm just sewing these in random places. There's gonna be a lot less of the gray patches than there are of the purple plaid. But again, just looking at the reference picture, there was a lot going in the reference picture, so I'm kind of just trying to place somewhere I think would look best, just for the purple, yellow and purple, black and gray. So that's what I'm doing. Pretty much the same as how I showed you how words, I'm still kind of waking up, how I showed you God, oh my god, I'm doing it the same way as when I sewed on the purple fabric, not doing the yellow stitching. However, I guess it's the same as the yellow stitching, just a little bit smaller. God, why was that so hard to get out? So I did a few things off camera. One thing would be the cape they have on their jacket. It doesn't exactly look like this, but it's a detail that I don't care that much about. So we have a half circle, poorly made cape. The edges of the cape in the drawing look like it's a gradient. However, the more I looked at it, the more I think it was just the way they colored it, and it was their drawing style. So I could have just made it like a band of gold or yellow. Probably use yellow instead of gold, especially for this character, even though I used gold for my normal Deceit look. Anyways, it's more of a band than faded, but I think the fact that it looks kind of messily faded adds to the character, and obviously I made the edges very jagged. Plus, since I painted the edges, it'll make sure the edges of this fabric does not fray. I am not going to sew it on the jacket. I'm just going to attach it with some safety pins because I don't want it to be a permanent addition. I want the option to take it on and off. As you can see, I already attached their symbol, and I attached it on each side of the jacket's arms, and I outlined the little rain tendrils, whatever they are, with yellow, so obviously they don't blend in with the black fabric. So the last thing I need to do is make the kind of infinity scarf that they wear. I don't have a big piece of black fabric, so I just sewed a few pieces of old t-shirt together, and I made a tube out of it. So, tube, flipped it inside out already. I just need to sew it together. You want to make sure that it is loose, but not too loose, so it kind of dangles. And then we have the purple plaid, which will be sewn on half this. So basically, once I've sewn the purple plaid on, which, you know, I might even make it so it takes up a little less of the black. I don't want too much plaid. I'm just going to sew two ends together so that flip it inside out, so the rough edges are going to be on the inside of the scarf, and then it should be fine and we can slip it over our head. Alright, we are almost done now. Now I'm going to take the sleeves and get some scissors and just cut all jagged edges. And because I have some, well, because when we cut it, the fabric will be free-flowing and going everywhere, I'm actually going to just roughly sew around each little jagged cut with some black thread, just so the fabric's not going all over the place. So after doing this cosplay, I've learned a few things. For one, I know they have a cape. I'm not the biggest fan of the cape. Like I mentioned, the cosplay already swallows me whole. So I think I'm just gonna get rid of the cape. The scarf actually wasn't that bad, but I could have made it smaller and add a zip in the back instead of just putting over my head, because when I was doing the pictures and everything, I kind of pulled it back a lot more. So it was a lot more, you know, flush against me in the front. I could have also probably gotten away with a medium men's sweatshirt instead of a large. I think it would have also helped if I added a lot more smaller pieces of fabric, of the two types of fabric, instead of just making big old giant block pieces. Since in the picture, I mean, just add more. Just add more. I know I've been thinking about also making a cosplay of I'm literally Vircei's the only one I actually somewhat remember. It's the Virgil and Roman fusion, the Dragon Prince one. That one I would love to do. Don't know if I'm actually gonna get to it, but for one, he looks awesome, and two, dragons. And now the heat has turned on. I am very hungry, and I'm gonna go see Venom. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more cosplay videos in the future, spoiler, you're probably gonna see more My Hero Academia on this channel, because I've become obsessed. It's a problem. So if you want to see some of that and other makeup crap and whatever, please subscribe to this channel. So, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all next time.